Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Hello and welcome to Better on Draft, episode 352. Today we are joined by Rob and Wendy.
Hello.
Ken and Dan are not available for this one. How you doing, Wendy? What are you drinking today?
I have a McChofie, which is a Belgian strong ale. It's delicious.
The one with the gnome on it?
Yeah. I can never remember. So my space here has turned into the medical needs staging area for my grandmother. When everything was delivered for her home care, I didn't have anywhere to put it, so it is all behind me, and I didn't think you wanted to see large quantities of Depends.
Right, but we can hear about it.
Yeah.
I am drinking a Lapalane from Sun King, which is a lager with lime. So
That's fun. I love Sun King.
They are a fun brewery. We just had Gen Con here in Indianapolis, and they are, I don't know if they're the brewery sponsor or what exactly they do, but every year they brew a beer for Gen Con. This year's was Roll for Initiative, but I do not remember the style, and I haven't actually had one yet. So we'll go ahead and get started and talk about some of the news that we have out there in the world today. I have some old articles that we can certainly talk through and see what's going on out there. I will start with an article about, sorry, I have to read all the little things that come up when I try to share a screen. Start with an article that came up about Alaska Airlines adding a new non-alcoholic craft beer onto their onboard drink selection, which I think is interesting. So now you can get a beer in flight without getting alcohol in the beer in flight. But I wanted to ask, have you ever decided which airline to fly because of the beers that are on it? Or is there beer you look forward to on an airline when you fly?
Technically, yes. I do fly Delta because you can get Sweetwater on the flights. I also found out that when you fly Delta to Denver, you can also get the Breckenridge Porter, which is delicious.
Oh, interesting.
But I've only gotten it on the flights to Denver.
So I've also, I'm a regular Delta flyer, and I look forward to the Sweetwater on there. It's the beer I've chosen to try to get the Hundo badge on Untapped, which is 100 of the same beer. And so I'm trying to do it just on Delta flights or in airports related to flying.
Okay. So are you referring to the Elevated, the one that they made specifically that's supposed to be drunk up in the air?
No, they have a badge. If you check into the same beer 100 times, then you get the Hundo badge.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm at 60 or 60 something. Sweetwater 420 already.
I need to look at that.
Yeah. Delta was doing a thing for a while ago, and maybe they still are, where they have different craft beers available on different routes. So on the West Coast, it's way back when, the San Francisco to LA one, you could get the Ballast Point beers on there. It's pretty nice.
That makes sense with the Breckenridge beer then in Denver.
Yeah, and I know Ken was sharing that he had a fat tire on a Delta flight recently. I don't know where that was from. I don't remember where that was from, though.
The new one or the old one?
That's a good question. It would have had to have been the new one, yeah.
I actually like the new version better. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know that
I tried it.
Yeah. When they came to Indiana, I think we've talked about this before, but when they came to Indiana, the local homebrew store put out a clone kit to brew their stuff too. And my friend and I each brewed our own batches of the clone, and then we had a fat tire and we did blind taste testing. Our wives set up, and we figured out which beers we liked the best, and it was not fat tire. It was homebrew speed up by a lot.
But it's
But
fun.
I think it was the skunky bottle that we were testing against.
There is a TikTok person that I follow that does Mystery Beer Wednesday, and his wife bottles up a beer and he has to try and figure out what it is before he can open it up and look at the label. So that's actually one of my favorite things. I look forward to Wednesdays to be able to see that. He
It sounds
usually
like a
gets it
fun
about
thing to do.
50% of the time.
Yeah. It's like trying to guess a style from a beer sometimes, or at least guess what the style is listed as.
Right? Well, I've been practicing that because I'm studying for my Cicerone exam. So that is something that I have to be able to do. It's not easy when you can't get out as much as you used to. So it's hard to buy singles that aren't trying to think of a polite way to put it, been sitting on a shelf for a long time.
Yeah. That does seem to be a common beer store problem, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Especially recently, I've noticed there's been a lot of money that I've wasted on beers that I probably shouldn't have bought.
I had a good craft beer store near me. It's real close to me and right next to the pizza place I prefer. So I'd go pick up a pizza and check out what they have on their shelves. But they had a good singles collection for quite a while, and it went away. And I think it went away about when they noticed that not many people were buying the singles.
Yeah, it is definitely a very expensive way to drink craft beer. I was buying singles every week to do beer reviews and realized that I'm spending so much more money than I ever planned on doing. I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
need a cheaper hobby.
The other side of that is that you have 4 or 6 of the same beer, and you have to
Right.
decide what you want to do about that.
And if you don't like it, that sucks.
It does. There's lots of friends out there who some of them have different palates than I have.
Right. So right now we have not a lot of beer in the house because I haven't been able to go shopping as often. And I sent my dad to the store to get beer today, and he brought back Bell's Oberon because that's his favorite. So I have a feeling I'm going to be drinking a lot of that this summer.
That's not so bad.
No, I'm not complaining by any means. He could like definitely worse beer.
Yeah, you could get the Costco size, like a case of something like that. That wouldn't be too bad either.
Right.
Let's see. Bats has a Paralyzer IPA from Austin Brothers. I
Oh,
don't know
good
Austin
beer.
Brothers. Are they Michigan?
They are. They are fantastic, man. I have not really had anything from them that I didn't like. And the
Whereabouts are
people
they?
there are awesome. They are up mid-Michigan. I'm trying to think off the top of my head where
Asking because I'm heading up to Grand Rapids in a couple of weeks, Labor Day weekend.
they're LP.
Yeah, okay. Bat's got it about the same time as you. Northeast Michigan, he says.
So not mid-Michigan. I don't know where I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
I haven't actually been there, but I've poured for them at World Expo of Beer, and they have been on the show quite a few times. And they're actually one of my go-to breweries that when I'm in a store and I'm like, I don't really know what I want, a lot of times I'll pick up some of their beer.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few breweries like that. Not that I've poured for at things because I haven't done that yet, but I want to. But just breweries that either I can't get to, but I see them on the shelf and I will always pick them up. Currently, Bad Dad is the one that I've been going to like that. And they part of it is their beer names. My favorite is Tapestry of Obscenities. It's my favorite beer
Nice.
name that they've got. Yeah, but they have a lot that are kind of the of that sort of vibe.
Trying to think of what some of the other. I mean, obviously, I'll pick up Odd Side a lot.
Yeah, I
I
haven't
always
been to
try to
Odd
pick
Side.
up stuff at breweries too. Like if I'm at a brewery, I'll try to take stuff home with me so that I'll have some there.
Mhm. I haven't made it to Odd Side either. I definitely pick up their beers when I see them. They had a mule or a series of mules that my wife loved, and I ended up loving too after having a couple of them. They were just really good. Yeah. I feel like the breweries that I tend to go to either don't have much to go beer or it's so Sun King, for example, they've got their vault beers, the high octane barrel aged stuff. Um, they tend to be a little more expensive than maybe I want to spend. And then if I'm going out wandering the streets drinking, I have to keep track of them for a few more hours and a couple more
Right.
breweries. And so the timing isn't always very good for that. But I did used to go to Beer Brewery. You guys have Beer Camp, we have Beer Brewery, and they have a cooler full of delicious things.
Yep, I have found that batch brewing, I can make that on the way home from anywhere I am.
It's
So
one of
my
those.
friends tend to make fun of me about that. That they're like, I'm like, well, since I'm in Troy, I'm gonna stop at Batch on the way home, and they're like, you know, that's not on the way home, but it is in my mind,
That's right. I'm out anyway. I might as well.
right?
Yeah,
Might as well just stop.
yeah, yeah. They're one I've heard a lot of. I have not gotten to either. I want to.
I've found recently too, we have a new brewery here that it's just small batch called One for All. That I tend to stop in because he's got a lot of really good beer that it isn't always like super high in ABV. So I can stop on the way home from the farmer's market, picking up my fruits and vegetables for the week. I can stop and have one on the way home, and it doesn't break the bank. It's a solid beer and it's a low ABV, so it doesn't take a whole lot of time out of my day.
Yeah, it's tasty, refreshing, especially
Yep.
after getting all that healthy stuff.
Yeah. I try.
Yeah, nice.
So we have some really good peaches here. Who knew that Michigan peaches were better than Georgia peaches? But I 100% will stand by that, at least from
Interesting.
this farm.
Interesting. I don't know that I've had a Michigan peach, or if I have, I hadn't noticed. I'm not aware of Indiana peaches.
They're probably there. You just don't know.
That's right. What is it? Persimmons? I can't remember what our weird fruit is that we get. I think it's persimmons. I don't know. I'm not into it, whatever it is.
So speaking of crops, I actually ran into an article that came out at the end of June that talks about how the hop acreage in the U.S. is declining. And I thought it was a very interesting article. I did put it in the document that it's not necessarily because the beer industry is going down, but it's because they believe that some of the farmers overproduced in past years because of the popularity of the hazy IPAs and the hop forward beers. And in addition to some of the sales going down, they've also seen a surge in popularity of the lagers and less hoppy beers, which I think it's funny that Ken and Dan aren't here because both of them would be very happy about that. So I thought that was kind of cool, though,
That's exactly
to
what I
look
was
and
thinking
see
too.
that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I wonder if is that a thing all over? I mean, this article says, I'll bring it up here. This article says that it's the U.S.
Yeah, so Germany's hop acreage declined as well, but they declined less than ours did, so it bumped them back up into the number one spot.
Interesting. I wonder what that's
So-
going to do to wet hop season this year.
Right? And well, they're saying though that there is an abundance of hops available. There just aren't growing as many this year.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good. So it's not a hop shortage. It's just a planning
Right.
thing, it sounds like.
Yep, it's not a
Yeah.
hop shortage. I think they're just trying to make sure they don't have a bunch of waste. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I guess it sounds like the hop water thing isn't catching on like gangbusters either.
Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me because most people either really like hoppy beer or they really don't like any hops. So it would make sense that they wouldn't want the hops in their water.
Yeah, I haven't tried hop water before. It's one of those things that I don't know that it sounds a lot like tea. I do like tea.
I mean, it basically is.
Yeah.
It's leaves steeped in water, you know.
Right. Or cones steeped in water.
So they there's been a few that I liked. I liked Lagunitas hop water. We had a local brewery around here called Supernatural that they called theirs bong water. So it's just a horrible name, but it was a really good flavor to it. So I like that, which came in handy when we were trying to do one of the sober months. I don't remember which one.
Dry January or something like that.
Yeah, I don't do dry January, though. I do damp January.
Okay. I do wet January. Pretty sure we've talked about that before too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our drinking contest. It's really just a project. It's not a competition. Competition would destroy everybody's liver.
Yes, I totally want to take part in the alphabet one.
That'll
think
be
that's
February.
What else do we got today?
Yeah. What else do we got today? Well, it's an older article, but I think it's still got some relevance. This was a little while ago, and I don't know if there have been updates. I hadn't followed it, but it kind of, see, it's more than 6 months old. It's even warning us about it. But it kind of follows a trend that we had been talking about. Ever since I've been on this thing, where BrewDog. So the UK, just in general, pays living wages, is not a tipping culture. And BrewDog apparently wasn't paying a real living wage. They had pledged to, but they weren't paying it. And this gets into some numbers and lots of very British isms about what that means and all that. But then they faced some backlash. BrewDog is always facing backlash about something or other.
True story.
Yeah, I mean, just something or other. They're always up to something. But the question, or the topic that I thought this was interesting about is the idea of paying living wages to servers and getting away from the tipping culture. And I kind of want to get there just in general, but can we do it in breweries? Is that a place to start?
So I know a couple of breweries that they pay their people living wages, and there's signs all over that says, please, we don't expect you to tip. We expect them to get paid for their work by us. So
I can only remember one that I ran into, and it was in Madison, Wisconsin, which I have to differentiate for Indiana people, because Madison, Indiana is apparently a thing.
That's true.
But around here, I'm not aware of any. And I don't know what that would end up doing to a brewery trying to open. That totally changes that business plan and the whole model that they have to put together, pricing and all of that. because they have different cost structures. But
Right.
is it fair to essentially subsidize their employees through tipping, like as the patrons are paying that anyway at some point? So that's where my head goes anyway.
We have had a couple breweries here in Michigan that have gotten some backlash because the tips aren't being processed correctly and they're not fully going to employees. So I think you could really look at it either way. The brewery that sticks out the most for me that has the no tipping policy is the Ypsilanti Ale House. And I believe that they started that right from the very beginning, because I went right after they opened and that was already a process in place. So I think it would be easier for breweries that are just starting out to do that policy as opposed to ones that have been there for a while. Because, people do not like change.
Yeah, that's true. And I could see a brewery that has built a business on the tipping model having difficulty switching to the living wage, the no tipping model. I can see that being a problem too. But that's an interesting point. So if it was part of the initial business model, maybe new breweries, maybe that's what we need to start pressuring our new breweries to consider as they open.
Yeah, I just don't understand why we have so much backlash against the living wage model here anyways. I don't understand why we can't just pay people what they're worth. Because we pay other people for doing things that have absolutely no impact on our lives. Millions and thousands of dollars, but then the people that are actually doing something for us, we don't want to pay them properly. That drives me insane.
Yeah. And we haven't even started talking about teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I guess we don't want to really get on a soapbox about it either, but it feels like there's an opportunity there. Somehow we can help make this be realized.
Right? Yeah. That and recycling spots. So you don't have to just take your bottles back to whatever store sells them. We should be able to just take our recycling to a recycling center, get our money back for them. They're going to go to that place anyways. So I don't know about you, but since COVID, my recycling habits have just gone by the wayside and it drives me insane.
So Michigan is a deposit state, a bottle deposit state. Indiana is not. Most states are not. So it when I'm up there and I remember that I could have turned in my bottle for, I can't remember if it's 5 or 10 cents. Then, I realize it afterward. But I never think of it. It's as a visitor to the state, it's a kind of a weird concept.
Yes.
Yeah. It's also an episode
my parents have been traveling around the country and they have not mentioned that in states where there isn't the recycling, they notice it because there are a lot more bottles and items on the side of the road than there are in states where they have recycling.
I'd believe it. So I'm fairly old. So back in the 80s, my brother and I used to go to old construction sites as they're building things. And at the end of the day, we would wander the sites and pick up all of the bottles and all of the cans. This was in Ohio. And we did have deposits on the bottles. I want to say it was 10 cents a bottle. So those were gold mines. And the cans, they paid by the pound. So we'd go home and we'd crush the cans. We had a can crusher and everything, bring in a garbage bag full of cans. And we ended up buying a pinball machine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little entrepreneurs there.
Yeah, exactly. And that was our goal. We wanted our friend had a pinball machine. We couldn't play it often enough. And so we wanted our own. So it was probably a couple summers that took us to earn the pinball machine. Now, I don't know that I can do that from my current beer habits, but it's worth an
No.
effort, I think.
I don't know. It depends. If the girls came over for a night, we might be able to boost those numbers up a little bit.
That's right. Have a couple big party, buy a ton of beer so that you can get the 10-cent deposits back.
So I was doing a beer tasting, and one of the beers that I had to taste was a Coors Light. And I laughed because I was like, I don't know the last time I had a Coors, or not a Coors Light, a Miller Light. Like, I don't remember the last time I had a Miller Light. My dad's like, well, according to that can bin out there, you've had quite a few. I was like, nope, those weren't mine. It was a girls' night.
I see. Okay. You can blame them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Right. I did a thing on a riverboat recently. It was a high school reunion, and I'm going to say best beer option out there was Michelob Ultra, which it's not a bad beer. It's pretty good, but that was my craftish choice.
Yeah. I used to like Michelob Light. Like before I started drinking craft beer, Michelob Light was my drink of choice because it wasn't quite as, I don't even know why I picked that one, but it was more expensive than the other ones, but it wasn't more expensive than liquor. So, in college, right after college, that's the one I went with.
Yeah, fits right in that spot where it's
Yeah,
more expensive, affordable, and tastes however you wanted it to taste at the time.
I joined a community organization that is for young people, and I realized that I had to start drinking beer because I couldn't afford to go out and drink liquor with them all the time. So I started with Killian's, went to Michelob Light, and then was introduced to craft beer. So
yeah, the rest is history.
The rest is history, man. Now
Yeah,
I'm trying to be a Cicerone.
That's right.
Who knew?
That's right. Killian's is not a bad choice, but it would get heavy. It would be a tough one to drink, as a starting beer, but for all night. And then I could see a light beer as being fitting better for it, an all night type of a thing.
Yeah, you could get a pitcher for $6 at the bar that we went to all the time. So that's it was $5 for the Bud Light, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do the Bud Light and Budweiser even back then. So
It's funny. Yeah, I still get them. I think I had a Coors at Thanksgiving at my brother's house last Thanksgiving.
I'll drink Coors more often. I don't mind Coors Light. I love the Coors commercial where LL Cool J drives the train into the house, and he's like, he offers him the beer, and then he's like, "Oh, I forgot the music." And then he turns on the music, and it's the Love Train one. Oh my gosh, it's the funniest thing ever. Oh, I forgot the music.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah. But I like the Coors Banquet. I'll get that every now and then.
Yeah, that one's a classic.
I'm still a High Life girl though. If I'm gonna drink cheap beer, it's the High Life for me.
Apparently, it's Michelob Ultra for me. the riverboat then docked at Hooters in it's on the Kentucky side of Cincinnati. It might be one of the last Hooters that's actually on the water. But yeah, Michelob Ultra was again the
choice.
Yeah,
There's probably a lot of the same choices there.
I'm pretty sure the same people stocked that bar and that boat.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hooters. I haven't been to Hooters in a long time.
We went next to the Hooters.
We went to a Hooters when I was in my 20s in Newport News. We went down for my uncle's wedding, and we decided to go to the Hooters because they had all-you-can-eat crab legs. And my sister was eating a crab leg, was trying to do the crab leg, and it was one of those moments like in Pretty Woman where she goes to crack the escargot and it goes flying. Her crab leg did the same thing. Landed on somebody else's plate at the next table. We were just like, oh, do. I have no idea where that came from.
Yeah.
My sister just set her little thing down. I was like, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're from Michigan. We don't have crab legs like that.
Yeah, we don't in Ohio or Indiana either.
So it was very new to us.
And it sounds great, and maybe it is for people, but peel and eat crab is just so much work. There is so
Agreed.
much work.
Agreed.
Get a little pruny after a couple hours. It's just
that's like going to those steak on a stone places.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm going to pay $50 for a steak, I want you to cook it for me and bring it out. I don't want to have to cook it myself. Because then you got like the grease all over your face, and I always overcook it. And then I'm mad that I overcooked it. So I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, the one I did in Dublin, it wasn't greasy. The stone was hot. No, I guess I got the steak off in time, so I was pretty happy with my steak on a stone. But yeah, these do-it-yourself places, I don't know. That's not why I'm at a restaurant.
No, that's exactly why I'm at a restaurant, is I don't want to do it myself.
That's right. I could do it myself at home. Yeah. Did you have another article or anything that you wanted to talk about today, Wendy?
Well, I do have one that has been sitting here for a while that we could kind of talk about. In this article, beer archaeologists are peering back millennia to recreate brews from ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome using ancient methods and ingredients. And I just thought this was really fascinating. They talk about how the first documented use of hops in beers dates back to the 9th century, monks in France. The rebrews highlight ancient brewers' bold touch with flavoring in the centuries before the use of hops. So I thought that was kind of cool. The way they were using other things besides hops to make the beer. The rebrews are a mastermind of Travis Rupp, a University of Colorado classics and anthropology professor with past brewing experience with Avery Brewing, which I'm pretty sure we've all had something from Avery. This combination inspired him to create a line of archaic rebrews that have earned him the title of the beer archaeologist, which is much cooler than M.I. Stout Chic. In 2016, Rupp oversaw the Ales of Antiquity series at Avery Brewing, one of which was a 900-year-old South American corn beer called Chicha. I'm not sure if it's Chica or Chica. I like either. Which also got him fired since one of the elements of the fermenting process involved human spit created by chewing the corn. I'm not sure how that made it in there without more information. His latest projects are 2 examples of oat beer called Kaikian that Homer chronicle in the Iliad and the Odyssey. Homer, not homed. I typed incorrectly there. Homer.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions up until now?
So I vaguely remember a TV show or something about this. I certainly remember seeing a bunch of people chewing the grains to make the Chica beer. I didn't realize it was Avery who did this. I really thought it was Dogfish Head. But this article is obviously saying Avery did it. And I wonder if it's been done multiple times now.
It could be, because there are other people. Food historian Tasha Marks initiated a 2018 project called Pleasant Vices at London's British Museum to rebrew an Egyptian beer from the time of the pharaohs. Her British Museum blog concluded, to look back on it now, the Egyptian method makes a fool of modern brewers. That's some pretty strong fighting words there. The British Museum project drew on evidence from breweries unearthed at the Egyptian workers' village of Amama, dating to 1350 BCE, plus ingredients and processes mentioned in the Sumerian text called the Hymn of Ninkasi, one of the various ancient goddesses of beer. Now you know I'm going to look more into that.
Well, yeah.
Another pioneer.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm like an ancient. I think there is more about Dogfish Head in here. Yep, hang on. Another pioneer is Patrick McGovern, author of Ancient Brews Rediscovered and Recreated, and a professor at the University of Pennsylvania Penn Museum. Though he is commonly known to brewers simply as Dr. Pat, as well as the Indiana Jones of ancient ales. In the early 1990s, McGovern oversaw the first high-tech molecular analysis of yellow residues found in bronze drinking vessels during a 1950s excavation of an ancient Turkish tomb dating back 2,700 years. And now you know why I'm reading it and not doing it from memory. And claimed that to possibly be that of the legendary King Midas. Turns out the drink sipped at his funeral feast was a barley beer blended with honey mead and grape wine and possibly spices like saffron. He worked with Dogfish Head to create a rebrew christened Midas Touch in 1999, as well as a diverse line of ancient ales where the most recent release was 2022's Three Thieves. This was an ancient Celtic ale, more commonly known as a gruit, which used botanicals for flavoring to more accurately mirror the ancient brewing processes before hops were used. So yes, Dogfish Head has been one of the breweries that is doing these ancient ales.
Excellent. 888 on Twitch has also confirmed my my memories, so that was nice of him.
That's awesome. 888.
Yeah.
That's clever. I like it.
So that's interesting, and I you know that the Chica, I would drink that. I love the idea of unearthing and occasionally doing the ancient ales. I think that's even a style in Untapped of ancient along those lines.
Now we've got something to look for.
That's right.
Instead of going for the whales, we're going for the ancient ales.
Yeah, that's right. No wet hops. We want something that's so old.
They don't even use hops. That won't help with the reduction in hop acreage, though.
No, that's true.
So that's what I had.
Yeah. So that's an interesting article. I have another one about beer goggles, but I think that we can skip it unless you really want to hear about beer goggles. I'm interested in the ancient beers, especially if Avery did it again, and it looks like if Dogfish is still doing it, then this is going to be this is something I really need to chase down.
Right? I can see a whole
we can talk about beer
series
goggles
on it. I can see a whole series on it on Reels.
Yeah.
The search for the ancient ales.
That's right. Yeah. So 888 was confirming that the Chica was one of the episodes back in the early 20s. The beer goggles one. So I've got it up, and it's been a little while since I've read it. But the study the study is actually pretty funny. This is the article. Yeah. Okay. So it was a British study that was this was an Asian study that was translated into English kind of badly. If you actually read the article that was published. The translation wasn't. It was pretty funny, but the premise here was that they some 99 male and female drinkers were quizzed on 18 different faces before and after drinking, something along those lines, and the finding was alcohol had no influence on attractiveness judgments, but higher blood alcohol concentrations were associated with higher symmetry ratings. So the more symmetric your face would be, the better you would appear to someone because of the beer goggle effect. But their conclusion was that they wanted to, or they don't think the beer goggles is so much so strong as what we think. The part of the article, because every academic article says more research is follow or more research is needed, is that they wanted to follow Dutch courage, do more experiments with Dutch courage.
Oh,
And
I think
that would be kind of similar to, I think, Irish courage, where as you get drunk, you are more brash and tend to get into more scrapes and things.
yeah, so I think it has less to do with symmetry and courage than it does to do with lower inhibitions, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of it. That's what alcohol is famous for.
Yes. So things that you would not do sober, you would consider a good idea after a few drinks.
I have some ideas I consider good ideas sober, but I would never do until I've had a few drinks.
Yeah, that happens. I've
Yeah.
had a few of those.
Yeah, my ongoing one is that there is a large fiberglass turtle as playground equipment across the street, and I think it is a wonderful idea to put googly eyes and other kinds of eyeballs on this thing, but I only ever seem to do it if I've been drinking.
So you have done it.
Oh yes, a few times now. I've done eyeballs of various shapes and sizes. I've got these wonderful large vinyl eyeball stickers that are bloodshot eyes.
There is a gate at DTW, that a Delta gate, that when you're going onto the plane, somebody has put googly eyes on the posters on the wall.
Excellent.
It's my favorite gate. I love it when I get there. And of course it's far away, so I usually end up in that one.
Yeah. My wife knows me well, and she got me a little tub of googly eyes for Christmas, and I immediately put them on some of the baby pictures that are sitting on our fridge. So my kids' baby pictures that are on the fridge, I saw them. I did it to my son initially, and my daughter noticed it several months later, and so she has put more googly eyes on things too.
That's funny.
Yeah. I also have them on various light switches and whatnots around the house. Because if you put the eyes right above the switch, then the switch looks like a nose.
That's true. I haven't googly eyed anything recently, but I think that now that you've brought it up, I kind of want to go and order another.
It's time for a googly eye.
Order another tub. I am going to Tulsa for a conference next month, as well as a cruise. So maybe I need to take those on vacation with me.
Yeah, I have a couple of stickers I do with that. So I've also got, I have them right here. I have this roll of, I don't know how well it will show up, but for rectal use only stickers. That are wonderful to put on things.
That's way better than my fragile stickers.
Yeah, I put them on stools a lot, and chairs and things. I mean, that is what those things are for.
That will definitely get a laugh.
Yeah,
in those places.
But I have I don't know if I've shown you. I've got my my biking helmet that has the horns on it. I put it on the horn. The horn gone out. But my favorite time was I was picking a friend up at the airport in Cincinnati, and I was out there at the cell phone lot and used the porta potty, and there on the soap dispenser was somebody else's blue for rectal use only sticker.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was just so happy. I took a picture and sent it to all my friends. I do this.
So you're not the only one.
I am not the only one, apparently.
Where did you get the roll of stickers?
Amazon. Amazon has everything.
Oh, that's true.
They
Because
have
my
glow in the
fragile
dark
stickers
googly eyes
actually
too.
came in a box. Somebody was like putting stickers and they just threw it in my box that I had of stuff that I ordered. So I was like, well, I obviously am supposed to use this for something.
Probably it fell out of their pocket or
Right.
just wasn't easy to hold on to. But yes, yeah. Yeah, I love it. It also means
Well,
that it's a real human working in that warehouse.
I worked shipping and receiving for a lot of years, and they don't usually just hold the thing. They've got a gun that puts the stickers on. So
Yes.
that was, I'm sure somebody was like, I don't even care about this.
Yeah, exactly. The refill fell off. Oh well.
So I like fun stuff like that, though. We are creating rocks to put in places at our different events for a group that I belong to, that when we go there, we're going to just put rocks in the area to see if anybody ever notices.
Uh-huh. Are they like so around here, it was a trend for quite a while. And I see them all around the playground and stuff because I walk that area a lot. I walk my dog at that area a lot. My dog sniffs all the things. And so we find the rocks. But it'll have things painted on the bottom, messages painted on the bottom and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, that idea.
Rocks like that. I cannot discuss what is going to be on the rocks, though.
You're not leaving them at children's playgrounds?
I know is listening.
Oh,
So.
I see. Okay.
I don't want people to know that it's us until
Gotcha.
they figure it out on their own.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I do enjoy things like that, little Easter eggs to leave out in the world.
So I went on a cruise one time and we did the ducks. I don't know if you know about that. Like people hide little rubber ducks on cruise ships, and it's like supposed to be a fun thing for people to go and find them. It's fun to hide them. It's fun to find them. I've never found one, but I did try hiding them, and it got to be so stressful that I ended up leaving with like 3 of the ducks because I was like, I don't know where to put these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I'm like, I just want to be here and have fun. I don't want to have to figure out where to put these so that people aren't annoyed by them. But
yeah, I thought you were going somewhere else with the ducks initially. I thought you were going to the amphibious cars.
Oh no.
But no, the rubber duck sounds like fun. When my kids were small, we would geocache a lot, and that is the same type of vibe where there's all these caches hidden out in the world, and if you go to the website, you can find out which ones are near you or near where you're going to go. And this was back way before cell phones, and you'd have to kind of print out the list was when we were doing it.
Right.
But if we had remembered to do that, then it was a great way to entertain the kids. They loved it. There would always be little treats. Well, in the bigger caches, there would be little treats in them. And eventually they didn't care about that anymore. They loved finding the little caches even that didn't have anything in them.
I went on a weekend away. We used to go to Oscoda all the time, an ex of mine and I. And we were staying in this hotel, and it was like a safari theme. And there was a backpack hanging on the wall. And we were eating breakfast one morning, and he starts digging through this backpack. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm looking for the special prize. I'm like, okay. And no doubt he found a little tiny Martian guy. And he's like, now we have to find a different special prize to put back in there.
Yes, exactly.
We're like digging through our bags trying to find some other little toy to put back in the bag so that the next person can find something.
Yeah, we had a bunch of old like McDonald's toys and things like that. That's what we would stick in there. And sometimes we'd take stuff out, sometimes not, depending on how old the kids were at the time, really. After a while, it really was just the thrill of finding the thing.
Right. Doesn't matter what's there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think I think that we are about to wrap it up now.
Yeah, sorry. I've been a little. I get tired about now.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
We've been off
That's
for a
quite
little
all
while.
right. Exactly. We're getting rusty and out of practice. It's just us. I have to see if I can remember how to close this thing. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Wendy. Let's see, and no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft.
Better on draft. Cheers.